SARS was alleged to be carrying out extrajudicial killings, wanton arrest and dispossession of properties through physical assault and other intimidation tactics. And there was also a counter-protest by the Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC, also in major cities. But the police, which are highly said to have considered that, well, there may be problems with SARS and what is needed is a reform. But now we want to examine the original vision of SARS. Has it fulfilled the vision? Is it derailing? And at which point? What is the reform needed to reposition the outfit? We are joined by one of those who midwife SARS. He is a chairman, Police Service Commission, Sir Mike Okiro. Good to have you here with me in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Before we talk about SARS, let me quickly hear your perspective to the discussion which has been dominating the polity in the past 1 month. And we're talking about the farmers-herdsmen clashes. The institution which you headed for a while and still deeply involved with the Nigerian police has been fingered for not doing enough. What's your reaction to that?
Not doing enough in what line?
Not doing enough in terms of proactively dealing with the problem.
The problem has been?
Yes.
Yeah, the problem has been there. I remember when I was Commissioner of Police, Benue State, way back in 1999, had two major problems: robbery and clashes between herdsmen and farmers. I was holding weekly meetings with them. And we tried to establish community relations committee that had to handle issues involving herdsmen and farmers in Benue at that time. It worked. Because I felt the government should do everything. The community should cooperate. The community have farms, the farmers. Some of the herdsmen come from the communities, some part of the communities. So I felt there's no way government or the police could solve this problem in isolation. So the people, the dramatic personnel, that's the herdsmen and farmers, were involved. So having series of meetings with them, and that's the tension before I left Benue to Lagos. So I felt that this issue of herdsmen and farmers should not be left to government alone. The government has a role to play, but should not be left to government alone. We will talk of ranches. Ranches should be built by banks, businessmen, corporate bodies who can buy land, get infrastructure there, have water, have borehole to supply water, have electricity, and even import special grass that are grown outside can be grown in Nigeria. So these cows could be put there. In fact, it's better because when the cows are in one place, they grow fatter, they produce better beef, and better. Look at it itself. If you eat now and start trekking to Nyanya, from Nyanya to Kefi, halfway you feel hungry. You can never grow fat. Same to cows. If these cows are looking very skinny, when they are kept in one place, fed, they can produce better. I think the part of this problem should be solved with ranches.
Which is what your National Conference 2014 recommended. You were a member to that national.
I wasn't a member, but I read it.
Okay, let's move forward and talk about the main issue, which, of course, you are here for, that has to do with Special Robbery Squad. You were among those who midwifed this particular agency. What was the mandate at the time?
You see, let's talk about the origin. What caused the creation of Special Anti-Robbery Squad? We did that in Ikeja way back 1991-92. 1991 precisely. When Shina Rambo, the notorious car snatcher, was coming to Lagos. We used to snatch cars, put a headlamp, go in a convoy to the Republic. And no policeman could stop him. Every day, they're losing policemen. Every day, roadblock, and that, remember that time, Mark IV was phased out for the police. So that earlier, very few rifles for the police. Every day, losing policemen. So I approached the CP then, Mr. Debera. Let us solve this problem because policemen were not afraid to come to work. When they come to work, the Dutch, once there's robbery, you see, you say, but everything policemen are afraid in Lagos. So we came up, let's give a surprise. The armed policemen in Mufti to take cover and wait. We did that. We put policemen with walkie-talkie along Agimoto Road, Baragri Expressway, Lekki Expressway, Ota, Lagos Ibadan Expressway. The Mufti with walkie-talkie. So the cars last night, the person that being monitored, the picture was being given to men a walkie-talkie. Mufti with long rifle. I told him, don't just shoot wildly, aim at the driver. And that he did. The first day, we killed 2 of them. They buried vehicles another way. After that, they stopped. Very soon, the issue started going around. Some states started to adopt what we did by getting people in Mufti to confront robbers. And what we did in Lagos, so there was 2 or 3 cases, there was bank robbery. We detailed, we trained them very, very well to withstand, to the range in Okpebi Road, where police had range then. We took people to police from mobile, trained them, specifically for this. They just respond when there's robbery or when there's car snatching, they moved. So they're not used to go to investigate cases, but soon that became an issue. What they're doing now tried to happen at that time. We had to deploy some to Panti to work with a robbery section. If the men were going on investigation, they tried to give them cover in case of anything. But then we recorded a tragedy that made us try to refine it again. On this particular day, around 1992, there was a distress call from Ikoyi. A jeep was snatched at Ikoyi, Awolowo Road, Ikoyi. So the SARS moved. They created a block at Panti. That is coming to about Macaulay from Tobela Bridge. In Italy, there was a hold-up. We didn't know coloring dams were coming from Ikoyi to Ikeja, ran into that hold-up. He came down from his car, had his person in his hand. He was covered by his backsman. When SARS was saw him, the person killed him. That was the first tragedy recorded in SARS. That led to the retirement of the Commissioner of Police, retirement of the AC Quanti, and dismissal of OC SARS. So we had to withdraw them.
So those were some of the noble achievements of SARS at the time. Let's bring it back to a contemporary period. Those achievements at that time, how do you compare that to what they're doing at the moment?
They're quite achieving. The SARS is doing a lot of work now. They confront robbers, but they deviated from the original concept. Like I told you, the original concept was surprise. But now it's no longer surprise. You see people, you are driving on the road, you see a roadblock, you see men in Mufti who to verse Richard SARS carry arms. It's no longer a surprise. And again, the danger in it is that how do you differentiate a SARS, that is a police officer, from an armed robber? We're in uniform. So, and I think that is one big way that deviated. SARS is not supposed to man roadblock, not supposed to move along the street with arms, because the citizen will be at danger, because they wouldn't differentiate who is an armed robber, who is a member of SARS. And also, SARS has gone beyond what they're supposed to do by investigating cases. SARS is not supposed to investigate cases. You see them now investigate cases of bounce check, family dispute, matter between husband and wife, SARS to investigate, business transaction, SARS. So it's so banalized now. So it's so common that people don't take SARS seriously. In those days, SARS was feared. Who feared SARS? We shit up. But now,
the fact that they've deviated so much, like you have said, does it agree with the call by Nigerians that they've outlived their usefulness and should be scrapped?
No. Like I mentioned the case of freeing them as an example. Because that country was killed, did not make us sharp. What we did was to send them for more to this around both in arms training and also in psychology. So that they know how to behave. Teach them the psychology Let them be very, very much aware of the laws, regulations guarding the police action, when to carry arms, when to fire, also the Constitution, human rights. That they should be fully aware of what's happening. Because you can't just because SARS can be veiled, you scrap it.
Can it be reformed?
The same Nigerians who say scrap SARS will call back for it because...
Maybe the Nigerians are thinking that way, Sir Mike, because the allegations against SARS, the things, negatives on SARS, is far outweighs the positives which SARS has achieved. Contemporary times. I'm not talking about the time which you referred to, those noble era. I'm talking about contemporary times.
Even contemporary times, the failure, what I mean, the bad conduct of SARS is seen. But the good side is not seen. The number of robberies that was stopped, number of robberies that have been able to investigate and bring to book, nobody knows about that. But those on the shot, people they killed in a line of duty misbehaving. People see that. People
that beat up, people that harass, people that extort.
People they know that.
I mean, can anything good come out from something bad?
Naturally, like they say in the Bible, can anything good come out of Nazareth? And yet, something good come out of it. The Savior of the world came from Nazareth. So you can't say can anything good come out of SARS. Of course, it's good that coming out of SARS. Though they behavior, what we just to do, what I should do to bring them back and retrain them and stop them from doing things that they're not supposed to do. Stop them from investigating common cases that the normal CID should investigate. And case of robbery, they should be trained for robbery. Bank robbery, house robbery, they move.
Can that actually be achieved? I ask that question because in the heat of the protest and the public scrutiny and spotlight on SARS, and that was even after the IGP of police, Ibrahim Idris, had given a directive that we are going to reform SARS and try to put on some kind of reorganization. Even during that period, you would have expected members and personnel of SARS to act responsibly. There were still reports coming in that they're still engaging in cases of extortion across the country. One came in from Lagos, the same Panty you were talking about. The young man was picked up for driving a car, and they looked at him, and they told him, you don't look like somebody who could have a job to drive this kind of car. The next thing, they took him to the station in Panty and started harassing him, beating him up. He called into the studio to tell his own experience. And eventually, he called his elder brother who actually owns his car, and he came to Belima and said, you have to pay 500,000 naira. He said he doesn't have such money. Okay, give me your account, I'll do the transfer. They said no. And eventually, they had to drive to an ATM point to withdraw 100,000 naira to settle them. And so if this kind of thing still happens at the time you are under public spotlight, what is the assurance to members of the public that this unit of the Nigerian police, however ingenious it was at the point of conception, can be redeemed?
Yeah, as the idea say, go to reform SARS. This is about not up to 2 research. Let's give them some time to come up with a program, come up with a curriculum that they use to retrain and reform SARS. That man, those people who went to Pantiam, they should be done with. They should. What we just hope IG is aware of it. They can pick that one up and use it as a good example. So other people who are SARS should behave properly. They have a calling, they have a duty to perform, not to collect money from people. SARS is a special anti-robbery squad. It's not investigation squad. It's not a toll gate. The people are trained, we train them the very hard way. We took them to range and train them properly so that they could stand up bravely against the marauders and hardened armed robbers. And they succeeded. So if IG say go to reform SARS, let us hope it's going to do that, and quickly enough, so Nigerians will have confidence in the SARS, have confidence in the police.
What was the disciplinary procedure and system like in the police? Because, there have been several complaints, but the number of discipline policemen, which we hear, that is not quite commensurate with the complaints and the petitions that have been sent in.
Yeah, the discipline of the police is rather tedious. So that is why a police officer is disciplined. It says even if something you do go to court, the court doesn't pay them back if they're disciplined properly. Now, if a police officer commits an offense, is queried, the DPO queries him. If a response does not satisfy the DPO, it passes to the Commissioner of Police, who reviews it, and if the Commissioner is not satisfied, it's sent to AIG. The AIG is not satisfied, it's sent to First Headquarters. The First Secretary handles it. If the First Secretary is not satisfied, they go to what they call four different committees, which I formed when I was IG. I felt that police officers should be given a hearsay. So the man would not be invited to First Headquarters. With all the GIGs in attendance, First Secretary and Secretary look into the matter. If they're satisfied, they ask the man to go. If they're not satisfied with his explanation, they pass to IG. We now recommend to Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission, the two come to me. I say to Council, they say, have what we call standing committee. Standing committee will look into the matter. If the man, whatever it is, they now pass to the plenary. We have all the commissioners, the PANSEC, the director of discipline, all the senior officers be there. They review the case, they award punishment. It's a long process.
Does that long process makes punishment a lot more delayed in the police, thereby encouraging the level of impunity we see among the bad eggs?
It doesn't. The only thing it does is it gives the impression, and people know, once the matter has come up to Police Service Commission and it's finished, that ends. The Police Service Commission is like the Supreme Court. Once they give the ruling, no longer, it can't appeal any longer. So that's why this is something I have to do with somebody's welfare. You have to be very careful so you don't give a biased judgment. That's why it takes that process. It doesn't take too long. When I took over from, when I was IG, I inherited 1,500 disciplinary matters. And I saw the tedium into detail. So I established this disciplinary committee. The rest is in Abuja. We are sitting, they start in police college, South College, Jos, and police college, Kaduna, and they gave a mandate to clear these cases. And within 3 months, the cases are cleared. We wanted to make sure that people are given justice, not mere allegation, an officer dismissed or disciplined. It was tedious, it was proper.
How do you provide a situation whereby there can be some kind of independent surveillance unit in the Nigerian police that looks at the conduct of police officers and report same with evidence to the board which you are talking about? Because I ask this question because there are people who say it thrives. The kind of stories we hear and the complicity carried on by some police officers thrive because there's a line of conspiracy even in between the DPO and the police officers under him, so that if the police officer under him misbehaves, it's difficult for the DPO to bring that particular police officer to book because perhaps in the past they've been involved in some kind of conspiracy, in corruption or whatever.
Yeah, there's something like that. We have what we call the S squad. The squad is a section in the police that goes around to arrest officers who are misbehaving. Also, there's a problem. When I was IG, I found out this squad was based in First Headquarters. We didn't have money to give them to go and carry out raids, go down and investigate police officers. You cannot expect send somebody from here to Lagos or from Abuja to Kano or Kaduna or Enugu without giving him money. So what I did was I would decentralize escort. I created a squad in the states and told commissioners of police, if you have to allow me to spend money from Abuja to your command to do what you're supposed to do, I will be responsible. So that's set up. So this squad is command. We're working very hard to check AGCC's collecting money and so on and so forth. It worked. So in the police, we have the escort. And police is the organization in Nigeria. One of the few, that could be one or two other organizations, who will arrest their member, investigate him, take him to court, prosecute him, and get conviction. Escort does that.
All right. I want to say thank you so much for being here with us. Sir Mike Okiro is the chairman of the Police Service Commission. We've been looking at the recent agitation by Nigerians calling for the scrapping of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigerian Police. But he's saying, well, the squad is still useful, can be reformed thoroughly, and doesn't need to be scrapped. We hope to see that happening. Thank you so much, Sir Okiro, for being here.
Thank you.
Well, that's Kakaaki, the African Voice, this Wednesday. Thank you so much for investing your time with us. A number of tweets have come in. I don't know if I could take maybe just a couple of them. This one says, Njoku Remigu says, since government want to provide grazing for cows, should they also provide grazing for chickens, goats, fish, and others?